Welcome back to Brothers Fab and Adventure.
Today we're back working on the Renegade.
We're going to be doing the front A-arms, some extended CVs, and motor mounts.
So stay tuned.
Control arms are not completely shot, but the rubber bushings are starting to get pretty dry rotted, some cracking and stuff, so we're going to just get ahead of the game here. Prime example of the dry cracking I'm talking about. Just did motor mounts and tie rod ends. One problem was masking another, and as we went here, the vibrations we were chasing started to actually get worse. We're just doing these last two things, and hopefully that'll take care of it. I'll kind of walk you through what we did for the motor mounts too. But anyway, we got this part way apart here. We use a 36 millimeter to get the hub nut off after taking the tires off, and then we take the brake bracket off with a E20, 3 bolts holding it to the knuckle. Just slip it off and out of the way, and then you can zip tie it up to the strut there. So unfortunately, the motor mount that was in the worst shape has already been tossed, so I can't show you how bad it was, but this is what the transmission mount was looking like. You could see it was about ready to turn into 2 pieces. This is the motor mount that we still have here. It's still 1 piece, but the one that we already threw away was 2 pieces. These 2 halves had separated. The rubber bushing on the inside there, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's kind of 2 pieces and they just came apart. We already knocked out this other side here. There's a brand new TTX control arm and a new extended CV there. One thing we didn't know when we did the lift on this thing is that you actually should have longer CVs in it. Through the process of the motor mounts going out, that can, you know, cause your CVs to do some funny things. And when we pulled this apart, the CV I took out had a clunk to it when I twisted it back and forth. So we're pretty sure that that's our problem, but we're gonna find out here. This is an old control arm. You can see it's not totally shot, but it does have some movement by hand there. So it wasn't long for this world anyway.
So the goal will be to get the knuckle off, so we'll just go ahead and loosen everything up for now and then start taking it apart. I got a 16 mil and a E20.
The first process that you're going to run into that's a little difficult with this thing is that the bumper support is in the way to access the front bolt on the lower control arm there. You're going to undo the 2 bolts that are holding it in place, and then we'll pry it out of the way to get access to the bolt in the front of the control arm there. 2 18 millimeter bolts that you got to undo there. So that's a little thing you're trying to pry out of the way to gain access to the bolt there.
Okay. Now I think I need to go under.
Go a little further, it looks like. Okay. I think I got it, let go. Hopefully that's far enough. We can pry it a little more if needed.
We wanted to take a second and let you know we got some new merch going.
We also got our new web store set up, so check it out using the QR code on the screen or the link in the description.
We're gonna get back to it. That's tight.
Real tight.
Yeah, all right. Good catch there.
Yep. For the back control arm bolt, it's a 21 millimeter. And you can see here we're double wrenching it, so it's a little sketchy. Once you get it broke loose, then the impact can get it. A couple more turns of that, we should be in the clear. There's that. You just got to undo the tie rod, and this whole assembly should be able to start pulling out here. It's just a 17 mil to get the castle nut off this tie rod end.
So to do the tie rod end, you just count the turns on the tie rod. Once you get it off, you can get a special tool on Amazon that'll hook onto the round part of the inner tie rod end.
It's kind of like a U-bolt clamp crowfoot kind of wrench.
And then you just loosen that. It's pretty easy. Of course, you'll probably want an alignment in the end.
Yeah, just figure we'd mention it since it's something we did recently and we could tell you how it goes. So he's just working on pulling the nut off this bolt here. That's what holds the ball joint to the knuckle. It's just a squeeze fitting there. Then we'll use a screwdriver or something to try to spread this, and we can separate the knuckle from the arm.
Slowly.
It's definitely going. You're halfway there.
One important step here is to take out the ABS sensor
Before There we go. All right, now the whole thing thing should just kind of pull out. We'll get back to you. We might have to double team yanking it out. Let that free. So now the knuckle should come out. There we go. I'll hold this if you want to take the arm out. You're probably gonna have to wiggle and yank. And if you can get the back one out first, I think it might be easiest. Oh, never mind, the front one. Slowly come. There it is. All right. Give this a little jerk, and then it'll come right on off. If you twist this and this, you hear that click in there. I'm pretty sure that means they're shot. All right, so our Mevotech Terrain Tough Extreme lower control arm just arrived, so we can go ahead and start putting this all back together. There's not too much of a difference visually from the old one, but it is supposed to be an upgraded design. I noticed that it's got like basically a nut plate or a bolt plate to hold the ball joint in place here, instead of just individual bolts like the old one had. And we're thinking that it probably weighs a little more, but it does weigh a little bit more actually. You're right. So here we have the stock CV, and this is the Track Motive extended CV, which we're supposed to use for the lifted application. So that should be an upgrade there. And it definitely feels a bit more heavy duty than the original as well. We're going to start with putting this in, and to do that we're going to put some grease around this snap ring right here to keep it centered in the shaft while we slip it into the differential. The inside of here we're assuming is kind of like a drive shaft, being a spline system that has room to compress and extend out.
The first thing is getting the CV in. The straighter you can hold it, the better. All right, you ready?
Yep.
There, it went.
Okay.
All right.
And now we can start working on getting the control arm back in. As you can see, we've got the CV bungeed up in place here. I had to work that side in and then kind of like bring it down and rotate it. That bushing has a pretty good amount of flex. Just get that in, yep, and then you can pull it down and rotate it. So once you get that bolt in there, then you can just flex it down and then rotate it to where you need it. Basically, it's pretty tight right there on the sway bar. Just pull it down and push this side up. Keep pulling it down. There you go. Yep. You're close. Push it in. There it is. Spread this a little bit to help it slip into the knuckle there with a little screwdriver, but you got to make sure it's angled so it doesn't hit the arm here. So we'll go ahead and try to get that on there. Hold the strut out of the way and then pick it all up and set it down a little higher. Okay, yep. You're in the ballpark. Okay. It went all the way.
Alright. Then we're gonna get the knuckle back into the strut here. It's probably gonna be a little bit of finagling. Probably, yeah.
Okay. You can probably get that alignment bar in there now. Okay. I'll hold it here if you want to get a bolt in there.
We're so close.
Alright, you're good.
We got the lower control arm jacked up so there's weight on the suspension. So we can go ahead and torque down the lower control arm bolts and all the other suspension bolts. The strut bolts get torqued to 75 plus 90. The lower control arm to 90 plus 90.
We got the control arm bolts all torqued down to 96 plus 90 and a little bit more on the rear one. And of course it's doing Colorado things here.
If you guys have been enjoying our content and want to support us, make sure to check out our new web store. There's a QR on the screen and a link in the description.
We've got the Bomba Key graphic, which was designed from the Snowcat that started it all for us.
We've also got our latest build, the Arctic Quad Track Mini Snowcat. We're going to start out with t-shirts and hoodies in red, black, and blue.
These are all made in-house here in Colorado using premium materials, so please allow some time for processing.
We appreciate all your guys' support to help keep our dreams going.
Got everything torqued here, and so now we're just gonna put the brakes back on.
2 bolts, and they're torqued to 120 foot-pounds, I believe. Let's get them started by hand, and then we might have to turn it.
And then we gotta still tighten this guy down here.
Yep.
That should be at least 140. I think we did 160 on the other side, and then pound those in. Don't forget your brake stuff. The ABS sensor, which we already installed there. This is why it's very important that you check your engine alignment after you do new motor and transmission mounts or new CV axles. These were brand new before a trip to Denver and some driving around town. They probably didn't even make it 200 miles. Expensive lesson to learn. Figured we'd pass that along to you because we're doing it twice now. Under your battery, you have the mount here. I think they call that a transmission mount actually, but you have 3 bolts that hold it there, and then the 2 here. And you can kind of see this is pretty tight to the edge here, and these are kind of slotted. They have some room for adjustment. One over here, this is the other side. There's a bolt here under the airbox and another one behind it there, and then these 3 here. And as you can see, they're pretty far over here as well. You can almost see the slot in the hole over here, so there's a fair bit of movement there. Wish we would have done that before a trip to Denver. Also worth noting, you definitely need an alignment after doing the CVs as well, because they will get trashed if you don't in very short order. Basically, AI told us we had the perfect storm of destroying your CVs here. Between the motor mounts, the new control arms, there's a lot of adjustment in all of those things. And so you really don't want to drive it around very much after doing any of that work without having it aligned and checking the motor alignment. So anyway, hopefully we can save you some heartache, because this is definitely not cool. How smoked this thing really is.
Pretty smoked.
Give you a pretty good idea. It doesn't move. This looked just like that about a week ago.
200 miles ago.
Yeah, at best. We got everything back together here. We've got the lower control arm bolts loose, and we've also got the bolts for the motor and transmission mounts adjustment loose. Now we're ready to drop the car down and kind of bounce it a bit and try to get the motor and everything to settle out. And if that doesn't do it, then we'll probably use a pry bar to shift it. And then once all that's done, we can go ahead and send this thing down for an alignment. All right, so after dropping it a couple times and then him jumping on it up top and then both of us jumping on it, it doesn't look like the mounts have moved at all. They seem like they're kind of in the same place still. And so we're gonna crawl under there and measure it and see what's happening. My suspicion is that we're gonna have to probably shift it with a pry bar, most likely. When we measured this before we drove it, after doing these the first time, we did see that there was a 1/4 inch difference, but not being familiar with independent suspension vehicles very much, we thought, you know, probably not too big of a deal, right? We learned the hard way on that one, but hopefully we can teach you the right way. There's also a proper torque sequencing once you do get this all aligned, so we'll walk you through that too. From the small clamp on the outer joint to the big clamp on the inner joint. 11 3/16?
I think, yeah.
All right, we weren't getting any adjustment out of this so far, so we went back to the drawing board and thought about it a little bit, did some research, and we realized we need to support the drivetrain because it's got a lot of weight sitting on all those mounts, and it's going to be hard for anything to move with that weight on it. So we're going to support the drivetrain, and then we're probably going to rock the car back and forth a little bit to try to get it to settle into place. We also need to loosen the 2 bolts that hold the motor and transmission mount to the vehicle. We had just tried loosening all 3 that hold it to the motor and transmission so far, and I don't think that's going to work. So we finally got this thing within a 1/16 side to side on our measurements, which is pretty good. Obviously 100% the same would be better, but that's within spec. And we really had to pry the motor over towards the passenger side to get it to happen. So we pried as hard as we could, and we tightened the driver's side mounts, and then we kept prying as hard as we could and tightened the passenger side mounts. And now we're going to pry and tighten the bottom mount, and that might give us that extra 16th that we're looking for. I guess we'll find out. We're going to measure it afterwards again. That's kind of the sequence, and then you can do the control arms. I believe it's the front bolt first and then the vertical bolt last. That is the lower mount. I don't know that we've shown you that yet.
It's all back from being aligned and doing a lot better.
Make sure you get all that stuff checked before you drive it very far, or you'll end up like us.
And learn the hard way.
Did another trip down to Denver and smoked another set of CVs. This really sucks. After doing some more research, it turns out that we lifted this more than recommended at 2.5 inches. 1.5 inches is like the max recommended. So it seems like that might be our problem. The CVs don't have any plunge travel because the motor's so high, they're totally extended. We're gonna try dropping the motor. Part of the problem is that the new mounts are about 5/16 inch taller than the old ones, so that raised it up even a little more than it was before. We're working on some drop brackets. It's coming along. Yeah, so there we have it. Profile matches. It's clearance for that little thing in there. And for those of you wondering what the process looks like, after he cuts it out with the grinder and the Sawzall, then he drills it out. See this giant mess of shavings we've got here. And he said it was taking him like an hour per hole last night.
Seems to be working a little better.
Wised up and went to the drill press. We used a piece of 3/4 inch aluminum bar to make these spacers. Just getting that one trimmed up now.
Got my new spacer, my new bolts. So I'm just gonna set that down in there first, and then we'll hook the frame side up. Start these bolts.
Third time was the charm. We finally got it fixed. Dropping the motor by that 3/4 inch seems to have done the trick. We also used the regular CV axles instead of the extended ones this time. I don't know if that made a difference or not, but it survived a trip to Denver and back and then some, and seems to be holding up good this time. So now if you haven't lifted as much as we have, you shouldn't need to do that. But if you have lifted as much as we have or more, then you probably want to take care of that like we did. Otherwise, you'll probably have problems like we did. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Until next time on Brothers Fab and Adventure.